Alright, hey, it's Matt, BlindGuysGarage, and today we're back on this old big block Chevy. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to get the piston ring gaps set and get the rod bearings gaps checked and make sure everything's right. Clearances, there we go, clearances. So we're going to set the piston ring gaps and then the rod bearing clearances. So let's get started. Alright, we'll start with checking rod bearing clearances. So you need a micrometer. Once again, this is a metric micrometer, but point still the same. What we're going to do is we're going to take and go, if you'll see right here on the crank, you got your two Allen holes. Make sure you don't dip your micrometer into them. So you want to work around them. We'll take the micrometer and kind of get it set close. So you're close right there. And we'll start tightening her up until we just barely touch on the crank. There we go. Come on now. There. Oh, we're just now starting to touch. Oh, we're starting to get somewhere now. Right there across the crank, needs just a little bit more, still just a little bit of clearance in there. There you go. So now we're tight. It just barely touches on the crank right there. So let's go to the next journal where the next rod's going to ride. It's the same. I'm just curious to see if the rest of them are the same. So what we're going to do, make sure we lock it down. It's locked. And we're going to go right here on this next journal and see if he's the same. That one's good. That one's the same. I'm really surprised. This rotating assembly that comes from Skip White is phenomenal. It's pretty much dead on the money on everything I've touched so far. Oop, dropped it past. That one's good. I'm gonna come over here because there's an old port right there that's in my way. Dead in the center of the journal. Let's catch on the outside edge and see if it's the same. Yeah. And then right dead in the center of the journal, just for fun. Crank nothing ever rides there. It's good. Let's move on to the back. Typically, you would measure these one at a time, but they're so, I mean, it's dead on. I mean, yep, there it is. I mean, we're within a quarter thou at this point. So, all these are dead perfect. Now we'll take this over to the vise, set it up, and we'll check some rods. All right, we'll get to measuring bearing tolerances in just a second. I will show you what we just ran into, so you can see it. All right, so here's how I got this rod back from the machine shop. Sorry, when I opened up my bearings, I had two bearings missing out of one pack. So I was like, oh, they must have left it in the piston from checking clearances in the crank. I mean, in the block. So let's take a quick peek here, see if you can see what's wrong. See right there in the bearing right here? I was looking, it's like, why is that bearing off-centered? Roll to this side, see, it's off-centered. It don't look right. All right, well, here's two different bearings right here. One from each pack, because they had only opened this pack originally. Once again, not a big deal. But when you overlay them on top of each other right here, let's see if I can do this. I'm trying not to scratch the bearings, so hold on. All right. See, when you overlay them, you can see the key or the lock is in a slight different location. So let's come back up here to here. See how our bearing is off there? Well, if you look at the upper cap, it's sitting just on the inside of the chamfered radius right here, perfectly. Look at the lowered cap, it's not. It's out past it. Now, you swap the bearing out. So you can roll it up. You can see right here how it's just past the chamfered radius. Now I'll bring it back in just a second. Just swapping the bearing out, the bearing shell. Now it's perfectly in line with the chamfered radius like it's supposed to be. Take our bearing cap, put our lock to lock. Here's our lock. See the lock? And when you put it together, it'll lay right there. So it's not perfect together because I haven't smashed it yet, but look at that. Bearing shell's perfect. So when you're putting together stuff like this, always double check. These are the rod bearings. These are the cap bearings. So very specific. Stay real careful putting it together. Now, I'll bring you back in a bit. All right, I'd like to take a quick brief intermission on the current project we're working on, just to ask y'all to like, share, subscribe, and leave us a comment on the videos, as it helps the channel grow and lets me know what y'all like and don't like about the videos, as well as when you leave a comment, I'm guaranteed to reply, because I reply to every comment left in the videos. So there you go. Let's now return to our current project. All right, I'm back. So I had to go do some stuff today, and now I'm tired, but we're gonna get this part done at least. So here's what we do: set the rod up in a vise, very lightly. You don't clamp the crap out of it or nothing. Just set it up nice. We'll check. It's rod's got a bearing in it. We'll check the bearing right here with a dial bore gauge, which we've already done. So I'll show you what that spec is right here on the camera. And then we'll check it against the micrometer, which we did on camera already, and see what we got going on. So bring it back in a second. All right. So all you do is take this end here and set him off in here. And we're going to check the bearing across it. I'm going to get my head in the way, I'm sure, at some point here. We're going to find 0. Make sure it's set 0, then I'll move my head. Alright, so now you do is you walk it over. See it's going down. Walk it back until it starts going down. You'll see it. Down, there it goes, down. Up, 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 up. And it'll land on 0. So we know we did that properly. Now, alright, so we'll set this micrometer in the vise right here, and we'll hit it just right, and you have to hit it just right, and what you're looking for is to see what's past 0. So once you get her set in now, just going to walk her around and find the highest tolerance, which I don't know how well we'll see on camera, but I'll move it around a little bit for you. So you can see as you move it around, different directions, makes it do different things, but all said and done, spec is around 2.5. Alright, so we come over and check this rod. It's a 1/4 thou wider than those. So it actually will have, instead of that 2.5, 2.7, it's like 2.730. So, or 30 thou, closer to 30 thou versus 25 thou. So, it's good for me. So let's start assembling that. Now we'll need to go check the ring gaps. I'll check the rest of these off camera, all the pistons and all the main, or all the rod journals, just to be sure, but I think we're good to go. All right, well, we got the pistons all bearinged and checked and everything. Got the crank mic'd out, so we know all our bearing clearances are going to be good, but we have no rings. Ordered a whole kit, came with no rings. See, it comes with balancer, flex plate, flywheel, flex plate, you know, oil pump, strainer, pistons, rods, crank, bearings, no rings. Supposed to have rings. I'm gonna call them tomorrow and see what's gonna take me to get me a set of rings. So for now, I guess I'm gonna call it, but I guess I'll bring y'all right back with rings in my hand. So let's get to it.